Hey, everybody. I'm sorry that once again I'm gone. This time I'm not chaperoning. I found out yesterday that I have influenza, or last night that I had influenza. So it's safe for me to be at school because I can get other people sick. But you have an assessment that's due today, and I'm going to outline that for you. You need to find your timed ethogram from last week. And if you did not do this yet, that assessment is required before you can do today's assessment. So you're 2 assessments behind, which means I need you to go and do this before you can do today's work. If it takes you more than a class period, then you have some homework you need to get done, which is, what happens whenever you miss class. The thing I'd like you to look at, there should be X's in these boxes identifying what you saw happening at different time periods. But I want you to notice up here that it said to start, you were supposed to advance the video 5 minutes and 15 seconds, which meant that you should have ended somewhere around here. Okay, maybe a little bit farther. I'm not sure exactly, because the whole video is only 10 minutes long, 10 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that. So you should have this whole area filled through here. But if you look at your sheet and the whole sheet is filled up, then you did it wrong. You started at the very beginning of the video and you recorded the first 7 minutes and 45 seconds. I need you to record what happened from 5 minutes and 15 seconds until the end at 10 minutes and 40 seconds. So if you did this wrong, you have to go back and recollect your data. You will not be able to complete today's activity unless you have done that. Okay. Now, let's say you've got your data set, or you've gone and collected it, and now you're ready to move on. Your data is probably going to look something like this. I'm just making this up. I don't know exactly how you will interpret what you saw, but at the beginning, it was mostly, these behaviors like awareness and clustering. And then a lot of people started in my other class, at least, that I met with yesterday, started seeing some more of these behaviors here. Now, this is not correct in any way. I'm just making this up. You should go by what you saw, not what I just put up here. But I needed some data to help you talk about what happened. Excuse me. So you're going to write 2 notes on here. The first note is going to be what happened at 30 seconds in the video. And at 30 seconds, I added deionized water. Okay? To the tank. Now, deionized water is just water, nothing else to it. But that's what was added to the tank at 30 seconds. Most students noticed that nothing really happened when we added deionized water. But then something else happened at 2 minutes. At 2 minutes, I added ground up fathead minnow. It's just kind of gross. But I took the dead fathead nose and I crushed it up. I washed some water over the crushed minnow. I filtered all of the big particles out, so I left some basically clear water that had been soaking in a crushed up fathead minnow, and I injected that in 2 minutes. You'll notice that something happened. And the reason I point that out is because if you completed this activity, down here you should have organized some data, and you should have that there if you don't already. Go ahead and do that. You also should have answered these questions. At what time did you notice the greatest change in behavior? Were you able to notice anything happening in their environment? Now, if you completed this, and in my other class, most students said they didn't really notice anything. Nothing happened. They guessed that maybe somebody had walked by, or somebody had bumped into the tank, somebody bumped on the ground, but they couldn't really hear anything, and they certainly didn't see anything. And that was intentional. I wanted the thing that happened to be basically invisible. And yet, it appears that whatever that is, it does cause behavior change. So today's activity is essentially going to look like this. There will be a Google assignment attached to this assignment with the video, and it's going to look like this. And you're going to take this data and you're going to create what's called a claim evidence reasoning statement. This is spelled wrong. So what you're going to do first is you're going to take the question, and I'm giving you the question. What is the cause of tight circle and threat level midnight behavior? Now, you guys already know that, like when I stabbed it with the ruler, they did that, and I jumped up and down, or when we tapped the glass. But I want to know if you can identify any other data that you can support from your ethogram, not from your observations before, because you didn't actually collect data and you just watched them and you were like, oh yeah, when I jump up and down, but you don't have data. So actually that's sort of useless to most scientists until you collect data. But we do have data about what happens when we add ground up fathead minnows. So you're going to write a statement here that you can support with data from your tiny ethogram, right? The cause of tight circle and threat level midnight behavior is da 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 da. Then you're going to write down your data. You're going to organize your data. You're going to need to compare the data from the deionized water to the data from when the ground up fish was added. I would like to see in this section a graph or maybe a data table that you've created to pull out a specific piece of information. What I don't want to see is just you writing down numbers and sentences. I want it organized as data. The reasoning part is where you get to write about what happened. You collect the data, connect the data from this section to the claim that you made in this section. And to do this, you'll have to define what animal behavior is considered a cause. You're going to have to go to your notes and figure out what are causes, and then figure out, do you have data that proves that this thing is in fact a cause, that it's not just something else? Maybe it's just adding liquid that the tank does, right? And then you're going to have to show how the evidence fits that definition based upon the general definition of what cause is. And this will be the longest and most writing intensive part of your lab write-up. And this is what I'm going to assess. So good luck on that, and I will hopefully see you all on Thursday.